Automobilista 2 will be getting its big V1.6 update this summer. And since the beta has just started update, I can say that since it says publicly on SteamDB that it has got an update. So I was going to think that since it's quite start of the cycle, I'm just going to see what my hopes are for what will happen. And I will be not leaking anything which has arrived in this update to the beta, but I will be talking about what I hope arrives. So let's begin with some things which I think, well, we know what will be added, and let's hope that they are good. And that's first with the UI overhaul. Since that will be arriving, I hope that it will make things a bit clearer, since a few things may be a bit, not dull, but I'm just going to say like it doesn't look clean in that sense, because I think it's to do with that everything is rounded off and that, well, there are like maybe a bit sharper things. So that's something I would hope arrive. And also what I would like to do, which I can say I have brought to the, well, I've said that I wish I would do this, is integrate AMS2 Wiki, the AMS2 Wiki which I started, with the game. Because if you ever have played War Thunder, if you press like a plane or a tank or a boat, then you can see in the bottom right corner it will say like more info on the wiki, or like wiki content, or I don't fully remember. But if you press that link, it will bring up a page of the wiki, whilst this can just open your default browser using that link, and then it gives you all the information from the wiki about the car or the boat or what it is. So I think that will be a very good integration with AMS2, since I have high hopes that I will have all the information about the cars, some history about them, and also for the community to be able to, well, they are able to post their setup tips about each car. So let's say you're driving the Formula Ultimate Gen 2 and you just want some general setup advice, you should be able to get it. And if you want some around like Monza, then maybe you should go click a link to the Monza page on the wiki. There you'll be able to see information about how to set up your car for Monza. So that's what I would like to integrate with the UI. Then you also have this content manager, which I think is really nice, and that will help you help you choose what you want and don't want to download with AMS2, and maybe integrating that we'd be able to mod to have the content manager also be used for mods. That would be quite an interesting thing. So if they contact the guy, I don't remember his name, I just know he's Italian, the only name which comes to me is Fabrizio Romano, but that's not him. So that's what I think they have confirmed. And obviously I have the physics update. I can say anything on that front, or like can say about the hysteresis is from what I've driven in the public version. It looks like AMS2 has a very bright future. But I also hope that the multiplayer will get a lot of improvements. As they say, it's a mine they have to go from to find gold, and hopefully they do find some gold, or actually do some things which can change to make it more open and better, so more people would use it. And I don't mean AMS2 players, but I mean people who don't play AMS2 currently due to that fact. Because we have seen AC, ACC, iRacing, maybe not R-Factor 2 really, but also Race Room. All of them have like good multiplayer systems, and if the core part of the game is good, so that discounts RF2 and Race Room in my opinion, then the players will come in. Like you have AC, which maybe doesn't have the best physics in my opinion, but still has a core user base due to the mods. And you have ACC, which also I don't think the physics are the best, but still the multiplayer is very good, very popular, and you have all of the leagues. And if AMS2 had them, I would think that their player base would be on that level, if not more, since you have this variety of content. But then when we have that out of the way, let me just talk about maybe some things I would like to be added now. So I'm just going to throw this out of the way because it's quite an obvious one if you know me. Snow. I would really love snow. I know it won't happen since Crimson has told me 1,000 times that they maybe add like one track like apparently they have in AMS1. But if they add snow in any way, I would really love it. And I have already promised Crimson that I will have a full winter suit on. So full jacket and everything underneath it. Boots, snow goggles, as in the ones they use for skiing. Big gloves, big boots. So all of those things I have promised Crimson I will use if they add snow to at least one track. But then when we have content. So if you just think about the horizon, what have they confirmed will arrive? So if we think about it, they have confirmed that they will be adding IMSA things, but also historic Le Mans things. So what I really hope they add is anything which is, well, if we think about IMSA, they said teams, tracks and cars. So obviously more GTP cars, LMDH cars would be really fun. Maybe an LMH car, but that's not strictly IMSA currently, but that would be really interesting to have. Then you also have I don't know what they're called. Yeah, you have all of the GT3 cars, which I would really like, but unfortunately, I'm just going to take a quick look to see if one thing has been removed or not. If it has removed, then a certain piece of information I won't be able to tell you. But if it's not been removed, I will be able to tell you. 1 second. Okay, so what I was going to tell you isn't allowed since it seems like that piece of information has been removed. But all I can say is that it seems like the red hot news was IMSA. But if we think about IMSA, I've already told you about the cars, but the tracks, what could we expect? And since we obviously have that, they have done the races, they haven't actually licensed the tracks, but I would think that the big ones to arrive might be, I was thinking first maybe like Road Atlanta. I think that's been in the files for quite a time, or been rumored quite a bit. Then you also have Sebring, the huge one. You also have Canadian Tire, Mosport. You also have Mid-Ohio, which might be looked at. Those four, I think, might be the big ones. Then you have some other tinier ones like St. Petersburg, which I found, which they've talked about, which IMSA race had on some other tracks. Can't really remember. But then you've also found Charade in the files, which I don't really remember what track it is, but that's been found. Then if we think about Le Mans, then you obviously have the older Group C cars, the GT1 cars, and the now modern LMH/LMDH cars. And I almost forgot the LMP1 cars. But I believe they've also confirmed that LMP2 cars will arrive. Let me just double check. But because we can expect these things from Le Mans, I would assume that the current roster of brands is a little bit low. Because we obviously have Mercedes, but we have the cars, we have BMW, we only don't have the LMP1 car from them, I think. Maybe they made the Group C car, I can't remember. Then the other brands, obviously. But, yeah, so it looks like they will be have to add a new company. So if you think about the new companies, which have raced in Le Mans quite a few times, they have the brands which come to mind, obviously, are you have Ferrari, obviously a huge one. You have Lamborghini, which never raced in GTP. I think they raced in GT1 and not in LMP1, but they have also quite a cool GT3 car. You have Audi with their LMP1 dominance. Maybe they raced in GTP, Group C, I don't fully remember. Then and obviously they had a GT3 car. Then we think over that you also have the big one, which I hope is Peugeot, because they're Group C cars. They have Group C cars which looked very cool. Then they also had a GT1 car, I think. Maybe not. They also had a LMP1 car, which was very cool. You also have Alpine, but I don't really expect them because they don't have many road cars. And then if we think about prototypes, obviously if they're adding Le Mans and if they're adding LMP2, then they obviously have to add Oreca because most teams use Oreca, the Oreca 07. You also have Ligier for the Brazilian Endurance Championship. And then you also have... What more do you have? I don't fully remember the brands. Ginetta, maybe, if they want to add something with that. But those are the big brands, I would say. So, and also if we think about the future, well, technically, when we talk about the future, we want to talk about the past. The old Le Mans tracks, I really hope that they do 2 free versions. And by that, I really mean that I hope they do a Le Mans version without the Porsche S's and the Mulsanne straight. Then they have one with the S's and the Mulsanne straight, so without any chicanes. So I'm struggling to find anything here. I'll have a little look more, but I've heard that they're going to add LMP2 cars. Let me just pause. Yeah, it wasn't reading correctly, but they said a second endurance pack is already being assembled for 2024 to add more cars to both classes, but also new contenders to GTE, LMP2 and LMPE3 classes. They can't confirm how many there will be, but will be fair to expect them to have more Latin flavor to them. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you obviously have the French and the main ones would be the French and the Italians. And from France, you really only have Alpine, but not really in all of those cars. It would be more Oreca, Ligier and Peugeot. And from Italy, obviously, have Ferrari and Lamborghini. But it also looks like that IMSA was the red hot news since their logo is red, or it was just a very warm one. I don't know. But that's how it looks like. So let's hope. But also if we think about other new content which might arrive with these brands, you have Peugeot with the rally cars, Audi with the rally cars, Lamborghini not with the rally cars, but you have those which would be huge. But then they could also get in Lancia, which I also think is a Stellantis brand. So because they have Citroën, and if they get Peugeot, then they have one of the big ones within that group. And obviously within the Volkswagen group, they have Volkswagen, Lamborghini, Audi, Porsche. They have these big, or Audi they will hopefully get. But all of these are the big ones, which I hope shall arrive because they will be able to expand. And then you also have the TCR cars, I've heard, which are made by those brands. But that's this whole theory I have about these vehicles. Obviously, maybe some people in the beta may think I've said too much, but this is, in my opinion, just all speculation. Because you never know what will happen. Because all plans we know from Razer can change. Even if they say something, they might change. Especially like a good example is the IndyCar. They wanted to release it, then they got then IndyCar said no, so they started negotiating. Motorsport Games said no, and now the Indy license is out of exclusivity, so maybe they can get it again. We will have to see. But those have been my few theories on all of this situation and hopes. What do you think will come? What do you hope will come? Comment down below. Once you're done there, please hit the like button and also subscribe. My next video, we'll have to see what it's on, because as we can see here, if we check the Steam DB, okay, so it's not very clear, but you can see here, it's not for media. And since we are only expecting the full update to arrive in summer, in a few months. I would expect August, so it will take quite a long time. So whatever requests you have for videos, comment them down below. Because I'm doing this since I didn't have an idea, and I actually thought this might be an interesting video to get people to start speculate. Since when one cycle ends, one cycle starts. When one speculation of one cycle ends, the new speculation for the new cycle starts. So let's naturally start it. And also, we didn't have a cheese period in the forums, if I recall correctly, which makes me a bit sad, because I like cheese. But until then, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my amazing viewers, thank you for watching, good